Plaintiff, Develle Severson, says the defendant is her grandson, and they haven't seen each other in quite some time. Develle claims she played a big role in the defendant's life because both of his parents struggled with drugs, and she's suing him today for an unpaid loan. Defendant Robert Gates says growing up, the odds were against him because his parents were drug addicts. However, Robert claims he grew up fast and beat the odds, and now he is a success story. Robert insists the money from his grandmother was a gift.
Start with you.
You don't see just a grandson and a grandmother here today. You see me as a survivor and my grandson Robert as a success story. My first impulse, because I haven't seen him in quite a while, is to hug him. So maybe later we can have
When you say
that.
survivor, what do you mean?
Well, I was put out of my home at 14 years of age. I ended up as a ward of the court in a girls' school, but out of that came some very basic foundation of me as a person. I knew what had happened to me was wrong, so I got a degree in social work so that I could be an advocate for other children. It gave me my education happened because I was in the girls' school. I went to Seattle University at 16, and my sense of family became a priority to me. Also the sense of having people who helped me all along the way. And those are some basic foundations of me as a person.
Great success story. Great. Glad you're telling that. A lot of young people who are wards of the court now need to know that they can overcome it, and then when they do, go back and help others who still have those same challenges. So thanks for sharing that. What about your relationship with your grandson? What has that been like?
It's been wonderful. He's the youngest of four, and they're all amazing. And because Robert's own parents I have four grandchildren, as I said, and two of them have very stable parents, and two had parents that had struggles. And so my grandson Robert had parents who were struggling with drug problems, and once his father got clean and sober, then I was like a surrogate mother in helping him as a custodial parent. My daughter was a cocaine addict, and along the way, it all hinged on, in 1992, my son was murdered up in Anchorage. But some good even came out of that, Your Honor. My daughter came to where I was living. She got off the street. She got clean and sober. She expunged all of her felony record and resumed being a parent to Robert. And so,
at what age? What age was she?
At the time, I think she was in her late 20s.
All right, good. And how old was Robert at that time?
11 or 12.
Okay, good. All right, and your relationship with him has been?
A surrogate mom. He had finished high school on his own in an apartment, and so I paid for the cell phone during that time, went to basketball games, of course, took him food shopping if that was.
But his mother was back in his life as well, stably.
That's right, but I lived there in the area and was more available. My daughter relapsed in '02.
Gotcha.
And
that's why you had to step back in.
Defendant Robert Gates is being sued by his grandmother, who claims she helped raise Robert because both of his parents struggled with drugs.
Let me hear from you, young man.
29 years old. Being a young black male, try to be positive in any which way I can. And growing up, I knew there were a lot of statistics weighing against me at all times. So, I just figured I had to, keep my head on straight, do my P's and Q's all the time. I had to grow up at a young age. I realized the value of, trying to live a positive life at a young age, so I knew what I had to do to try to get there. So having my mom on one side of the spectrum being pretty much a lifelong addict, and then my dad sobering up when I was born, pretty much gave me two spectrums, and it was pretty much easy to figure out where I wanted to go and how I wanted to do it. Never got into too much trouble. never got into too much trouble, don't touch drugs, just try to be a positive role model to some of my younger cousins who don't have a positive role model like my dad was in my life.
What did you go on after high school to do?
After high school, didn't get into school right away. Still was kind of, I guess, struggling with everyday life situations, dealing with my mom, trying to be there, helping her. Commenced to try to get into school. It didn't work out the way I wanted to, so I just kept on trying to better myself, getting jobs, stay out of trouble, move forward, just trying to.
What are you doing now?
I'm in the union. I'm a pilot.
What is that?
We build bridges, docks, wharfs, marinas.
And you're part of the union?
Yes.
Sounds like a very, very good job. Very good job. All right, ma'am, you're suing him for a $4,500 loan. How so?
In 2010, Robert decided to go back to college and asked me for money for his tuition. And I made it clear that it was a no-interest loan to be repaid.
What college?
I was going to try to go to a CC, Watt Community College.
So
He accepted it?
he accepted the
I heard
loan.
him say try to go to community college. Go ahead. I hope he went with that money.
I think he went a quarter or two, Your Honor. And then when I asked him about it, found out he wasn't enrolled in college, I said, I think you should return the money. And he said, well, Grandma, I already spent it. So I said, well, it still needs to be repaid. And, you know, you paid the $500. But then at that time, Robert was working just minimum wages, and I couldn't bully him into paying that. And I mean,
now he's getting good money.
Now he's getting good money.
When was the last time you asked for your money?
In July.
And what did he say?
He did not respond. I have the thing said he got the letter.
Okay, let's see it. And I'll ask him, sir, did you receive money from your grandmother, and what did you do with it?
Yes, I did receive money from my grandmother. As everyone knows, things don't work out the way that it's always planned to. You know, I didn't get into school. I was going to try to play ball.
What did you do with the money?
Pay bills.
Why didn't you use it for school?
Because it didn't work out how
What
I
part
wanted
didn't
to.
work out?
Excuse me?
What part?
Just
You had the money and you got admitted, right?
Yeah,
So what
it just
part
didn't work.
didn't
I
work
guess struggling with the life situations, trying to be there for my mom, make sure, you know, she's alive, living well, and
Be
just,
there how? What did you do for her?
just being there, showing her that I loved her. I would be there for her.
You could tell her
whenever she
that
needed
on the way to school.
Yep.
And when you got back.
Yeah, at this time, my mom was not in my life, as you heard from my
Well, then you
grandmother.
weren't helping her if she wasn't in your life.
Yeah, because she didn't want to be in my
Right,
life.
we got that then. Okay, so you didn't have her as an obstacle.
Defendant Robert Gates is being sued by his grandmother, who claims she helped raise Robert because both of his parents struggled with drugs.
What kept you from using the $5,000 that you said you were going to use for school? You had been admitted to school, you had $5,000. What did you do with the money?
Like I said, I honestly don't remember. I had bills. I have
You don't
medical
remember
bills.
what you did with $5,000. Okay? And we need to take that hand clap back. Because, sir, there's thousands of young people got a story like you, and they use the money to go to school, and they remember what they use it on. All right, sir. What do you want to tell me about repaying her? Was there an agreement to repay? If so, why haven't you? You got a good job now.
From my understanding, I was getting help to better myself and move forward in my life to make myself a better person, like she had helped out all the other grandchildren.
She gave them all $5,000 to go to college?
I'm not exactly sure.
Well then, you don't know what she did for all the other grandchildren. All right, so did you agree to repay it?
No, I did not.
All right, did you give her $500?
I do not remember making nail payment.
Don't remember. All right, do you remember her asking you for the money?
I had received a letter in the mail with more than just my name on it, with a long list of stuff. And so I just got that and never thought much more past it because I never heard. I contacted cousins and other family members whose names were on that, and nothing more went forward. So I just kind of thought it was
The information was from her to you and others.
correct.
Why didn't you address your part?
I didn't know where to go forth with it,
No,
honestly.
why didn't you go to her and say, Grandma, I got this letter from you. Remember, Grandma, this was a gift.
Honestly, I was hurt. I didn't know how to handle it. I'm still in awe about everything.
Sir, all your excuses are not flying today. I'm glad that you got a good job, if that's true, because the rest of what you're saying is not believable. You sound dishonest. You sound like you deceived your grandmother. Judgment for the plaintiff. Good luck to you, man.
Thank you.
I don't have nothing to say, honestly. I don't know what to say. I'm confused.
Well, I love him. I'm very proud of him. I tried to help all of my grandchildren, some with loans and some with gifts. They're all in various stages of repaying the loans except for Robert. Oh, I miss him.
I always love and will admire and respect my grandmother, but I have nowhere to go. This is all still confused.
Well, I thought he'd be a stand-up kind of guy, and I'm sorry that I'm sorry that he wasn't able to be a stand-up guy today.
Ever wonder how important a signed agreement is to your case? If so, go to my website, askjudgemathis.com, and ask me about it.